Looking wild. It's looking rough. I need to get it retwisted, but we going with it. Man, what is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? Man, welcome to another Load and Bay Talks, man. Today we are talking about the cost of self abandonment. Um, the cost of losing yourself behind it. Um, now, I had in the past I kind of talked about this a little bit. But on this live, man, I'm gonna share it a little bit different than I did before. I got a little bit of notes here to share with everybody. So if you want to take notes, you can take notes. But first thing I want to say, man, is again, my name is Dorian. I am the founder. I'm the founder of the Load and Bay. Um, Originally, what we do here is play video games. We chill. We hang out. And we just have a good time, man. We just be our authentic selves. I'm a husband. I'm a father. And also a dog owner. Um, and I've created this Load and Bay Talks because I wanted to give everybody a space and an opportunity to talk about the things that we don't normally talk about on a day-to-day basis. I wanted to give people experiences in life that I have been through and give them the opportunity to um, learn from my experiences, whether they're good or whether they're bad. And so today's topic again that we're talking about is self-abandonment, the cost of losing yourself. So um, the question is, have you ever, I got to get my laptop and out the sun. Have you ever felt like you were showing up for everyone else but for yourself? Self-abandonment isn't always obvious. It can feel like responsible. It can feel like being responsible, loyal, strong, but it costs you something, and that something is yourself. And so, well, before we kind of talk about it a little bit, we got to define it as well. Self-abandonment is when I silence my needs to keep the peace, when I betray my truth just to feel safe or loved, when I check out on myself so others can be okay. So I'm gonna kind of share this, and this is talking about the first time that I ever abandoned myself. The first time I ever abandoned myself, I'm gonna kind of talk about my adult life. The first time I ever abandoned myself was trying to appease others, trying to make other people uh, feel special in some type of way. I've always, as an adult, I carried this thing of, as a kid, I always thought that because I had never, because I had been treated badly at times as a kid, or because I had been bullied, because I had been picked on, because I've had all these things happen to me, I thought that I knew what that pain felt like. So I thought if I gave the opposite, which was love to people, and I thought that if I continue to share love and I continue to remind people that you always got somebody in your corner, I thought that that would allow others in my space to know that they'll never have to go through anything by themselves. With that, over time, that had became a default for me. And over time, what I started to realize was people started to take my kindness as a weakness. And they would do things like manipulation to make me feel bad for my own values. They would try to twist the things that I believed in and try to make it seem like I wasn't a man of my word, or I wasn't going to do the things that would allow me the space to honor what I said I was going to do, right? Using my values as a tactic so that they could feel better for themselves. Um, and that led into my marriage. That led into my way that I parented my kids. Um, Working jobs that literally, I worked jobs that literally killed me. All the jobs that I ever had always made me feel like that I was never good enough. I was the guy that always showed up to work. I was the guy that was always on time. I was the guy that was always putting in the work for everybody. I was always that guy. In my marriage, I was always the guy to make an adjustment very quickly. When I messed up and I did something wrong, I took ownership of it, and I always made sure that I redirected. So if there was something that I wasn't doing, I would change and adjust and do. I was always adjusting for everybody else. As a parent, as a father, when I was leading, when I was leading my kids, I would always struggle with this part of, am I doing enough? So I would parent based off of how my kid acted. So if my kid was having a bad day, I always blamed myself. I always blamed myself and said that I'm the problem. I'm the reason why my kids are having a bad day. You see what I'm saying? So self-abandonment comes in many shapes and forms. A lot of us don't realize it, but when we are appeasing to other people, when you doing things to make everybody else happy at the expense of yourself, that's self-abandonment. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is that you do in life. If you do something that causes a person you always find, and this is how you know if you abandoning yourself. If everybody else in your circle, friends, family, relationships, if everybody else in your circle is happy except you, like if everybody's at peace, if everybody's happy, if everybody's enjoying themselves, if everybody's laughing, if everybody's joking, if everybody is excited and doing all of these things, but then at the end of the day, you not happy, that's self-abandonment. Because what that is telling you is that you spent all this time making everybody else happy, but you didn't do nothing for yourself. And so it took me years. It took me years to get here. I went through a lot of pain, a lot of suffering to finally get to a place where I could finally tell people no. You know what I'm saying? And so as we continue to go on, I'm gonna give y'all some tips and give y'all some things. So write this down if you're really truly listening, because a wise mind takes and they write down. When you look at somebody else's experiences and mistakes, the greatest learners don't learn from themselves. They learn from other people. So take the things that I'm giving you, the failures, the mistakes that I have made, and write them down so that you don't have to make them. Or you can be able to scan better for these things that's going on. When you look at a relationship or you see how somebody moving and you like, oh, yeah, I heard about this before. Yeah, let me dig deeper into this. You know what I'm saying? So what does self-abandonment, what does it look like? The first example is saying yes when you mean no. Write that down. Am I saying yes to everybody else when I should have said no? We are all in some way, shape, or form guilty of this piece right here. You said yes to something that you really didn't want to do, but you know why you did it? Because you was afraid. You was afraid if you didn't do it, them people would abandon you. You was afraid if you didn't do it, they would walk away from you, or maybe they would judge you, or maybe they would make you feel like you were incompetent, or whatever the case may have been. So you said yes to something because you didn't want to make somebody feel bad. Or maybe you said yes to something when you should have said no. You know how it is. Come on, man. Y'all don't hit the like button, put a 1 in the chat, say something. You know how it is. Your friend call you up. Hey girl, I was wanting to see if you want to go hang out and go do such and such and such and such. Or what up, bro? Hey, I'm hoping that you want to such and such and such and such. Man, we going over here. We about to go do this. We about to go do all of these things. But you really don't want to do that. How many times you said no how many times you said yes instead of saying no? That's what a part of what self-abandonment can look like, right? The second one is shrinking your truth so others won't feel uncomfortable. Now, what do I mean by this piece right here? For instance, I'll give you an example. All my life, I've made people, I perceived to be a person that was always happy, bubbly, super light. So whenever I would go hang out with people, I would always put myself in a place where I was super smiley, super happy. I was that guy was an extrovert. Just all of these things. So I always gave everybody the light side of me, but I never gave them the real me. And you know why I never gave people the real truth of who I was? Because I was afraid. Again, I was afraid of being abandoned. I was afraid of loss. I had the fear of loss. I had the fear of that if I show these people who I really am, then people gonna walk away from me. How many of us have had this same challenge where you've been in a situation where where you feel like you got to dim your light, or you feel like you got to turn yourself down so that everybody else can feel better. Some of you may be very intelligent people. Some of you may be very wise. Some of you may be very smart. You might be able to take complex problems, and make them simple. Some of you may be like this, and that don't mean everybody gonna like you. I'm emotionally intelligent dude. And so when I walk into a room with a group of people, I don't scan for the people that's trying to be the loudest one in the room. I don't need to be the loudest one in the room. I didn't come on this live screaming at y'all, trying to motivate y'all. No, I'm trying to give you real game, and I don't need to scream to do it. Some of us are type of people, we sit up in the cut and we watch. We just watch and observe how people move, and we like, oh, okay, yeah, I see how you moving. Oh, so that's how you, hey, didn't you just call bro your friend, but then you talking about him behind your back? Oh, okay, I peeped that. You see what I'm saying? You notice things about people, but you don't let people in on your truth because you afraid if you tell somebody your truth, that's gonna make you more worried about them feeling uncomfortable than you telling your truth. That's a sign of self-abandonment. The other one, another sign of self-abandonment, over-explaining yourself or apologizing. I love this right here. Apologizing for existing. How many of us have felt like that? Apologize, bruh. Think about that. You apologize for just existing, for just being a human being. What do I mean by that? Every time you look around, you apologize for a mistake you made. Oh, I'm sorry that I forgot that. Oh, I'm sorry that I didn't do that. Oh, I'm sorry that I didn't be there for you. Bruh, you a human being. And you apologizing for the mistake for something. Matter of fact, it's not even a mistake. You apologizing for something that you just existing, bro. You gonna make mistakes. Or over explaining yourself. When you tell somebody something, you feel like you got to explain more of why you like that, or why you about to make this decision. So you tell somebody, oh, I'm gonna go in this direction, right? But you feel like you got to tell everybody the whole picture just so everybody can get it. I'm telling y'all something that I've experienced, something that I've done myself. Spending all my time explaining my dreams, explaining my goals, explaining how I feel about things, explaining my no to people. And bruh, you abandoning yourself, because let me tell you something, man. Not everybody deserves to get an explanation on something that you supposed to be doing for you, for your life, for who you are and what you feel and what you think. You don't need to explain that to everybody. And not everybody deserves your explanation. Here's another one. What self-abandonment looks like. Suppressing anger or sadness to avoid conflict. Suppressing anger or sadness to avoid conflict. I've done this for years in my marriage. Man. I would, when I was going through something, or with friends, when a friend made me upset, or my wife made me upset, or my you know, just anybody that really said something that I really didn't appreciate, I would stuff my anger, or I would hide my sadness, because I don't want people, because I was afraid of conflict. I was afraid that if I talk again, for me personally, you got to figure this out for you on why you do these things. But for me, my why was because I was afraid that people would walk away from me. I was afraid that people would judge me. I was afraid that people wouldn't see the man that I was beyond that specific feeling. So a lot of times I would spend my life just trying to, I would avoid them feelings, and it left me abandoning myself. If out of these five, if any of these, I think the biggest one for me was suppressing my anger or sadness to avoid conflict. That was the biggest one for me. And let's go to the last one, because I want to start wrapping up. So the last one on what self-abandonment looks like: living for others' expectations while your soul goes silent. Living for everybody else's expectation, but while your soul goes silent. What does that mean? You are living. So for instance, if somebody got an expectation for you, let's just make it something dumb simple. Go take out the trash. All right. Somebody asks you go take out the trash, and you don't take out the trash. They come back at you and they go, why you didn't take out the trash? And you go, well, I didn't take out the trash because I was trying to get some other things taken care of. And in the middle of getting them things taken care of, it slipped my mind. I was trying to take care of some work on the back end, and I just had a lot of things that was piling up. And so I didn't forget about the trash, but I just couldn't do it in that moment. But then that person comes up to you and say, but I said that I needed you to do that trash. That was my expectation of you, and you let me down. You let me down right there. You didn't take out that trash when I asked you to take out that trash. And what happens, right? If we abandon ourselves, we start feeling guilt and shame for that. You start feeling guilty. You start feeling shameful because you was like, dang, man, I let them down, man. I ain't take out the trash when they asked me to. Man, I'm a bad person. Man, why I can't get nothing right? Man, why I be making these decisions, man, and now I got people mad at me. Instead of going, well, let's replay that scenario. So a person say, hey, I need you to take out the trash. And you're like, all right, I got you. But you got all these other things that's piling up on you. So you trying to take care of that. And you gotta take, cause that's gonna take you 2 seconds to go throw the trash away, right? You know that's gonna take you 2 seconds. But you got way bigger fish to fry than be trying to be worrying about some trash. So boom, you taking care of what you need to take care of. This is how you supposed to handle that. A person come up to you and say, man, you let me down, man. I asked you to take out that trash and you didn't take out that trash. This is how I would handle it. I would say, well, I wanna say, first off, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm sorry that you feel like I was supposed to move when you told me to move, but I'm not a robot. In fact, if you needed the trash to be taken out that bad, you do it. Now, if you a kid, let me say this clearly. If you are under the age of 17 and you still live in your parents' house, that's a different conversation. We're not talking about this. This is a grown-up conversation. If you living in your house and your parents ask you to take out the trash, please take out the trash. I'm just giving an example. Something super simple that everybody could relate to. That's all I'm doing. I'm not telling you this is not an excuse to go to your parents and be like, well, I got some other things I need to take care of, so you gonna have to wait. No, that was just an example. So let me be very clear on that. If you are at the age of 17 and under, you need to, if you are living in your people's house and they ask you to take out the trash, respect that, please. Respect that, please, because they're giving you a roof over your head. Respect that, please. If you don't like that, then start preparing to get your own crib so you can see what it's like to have to take out your own trash. Anyways, but y'all get my point. Y'all get my point on where I was going at. These are all things that are proof to show you that what it looks like. So let me tell you the cost. We're gonna start speeding through this, because I don't want this video to be too long. So we talked about the cost. I mean, we talked about let me find my place. What self-abandonment looks like. Now we're gonna talk about the cost. The cost of it and what it steals from us is chronic anxiety and burnout. The second thing is no identity outside of others. The third thing is resentment and anger in silence. And the fourth one is feeling invisible even to yourself. These are all things that the cause and these are only just a few things. This ain't everything. We ain't talking about how you feel like you done lost purpose. We ain't talking about how you feel like you're not important. We ain't talking about none of that. We just talking about the cost, the cost of what happens when we make the choices we make. So the turning point, what we're gonna share at the beginning, this is my questions to you guys. When you think about this, as we talked about a lot today, everything we talked about, I want you to ask yourself this. These are the things that you can start with at the beginning of your healing. What was the wake-up call? What was when are we going to wake up? For me, the wake-up call was, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The wake-up call for me was realizing in my marriage that I had all of these people, my counselor, my coach, and that was telling me, D, you need to tell your wife how you feel. They kept telling me, you need to tell your wife how you feel. You need to stop suppressing your anger. Stop sitting in silence. You need to be honest. You need to tell the truth. You need to tell her what you need. You need to do all of these things and listen. Not because I didn't want to, but again, because I was afraid of avoiding conflict. And the reality hit me, it dawned on me when our marriage got into a place where it started to become real rough. I really started to feel like what's going on in my head. And keep in mind, this ain't got nothing to do with my wife. It had everything to do with me. I wasn't speaking about what I needed. I wasn't speaking about how I felt about things. I wasn't speaking about the changes that needed to be made. I didn't speak about how I felt like in that moment when I was expressing myself, that I felt like I wasn't heard. I felt like I wasn't seen. I felt like I wasn't noticed. I wasn't communicating these things, y'all. And the turning point hit me when I realized that I looked back at all the things that I had done, and my wife never knew the real me. That's what was the turning point for me. That's where it was like, oh, D, problem ain't her. The problem is you haven't opened up about what you really need. And bruh, the frustrations, the anger, the resentments that I had, they all started, it had piled up so bad that we was at a turning point in our marriage. And I was like, bro, I don't know if I could do this. And that was tough, y'all. That was tough. But if I never would have had that conversation, easy girl, if I never would have had that conversation, life would have never got no better. So that was the wake-up call for me. That was when I realized, and everything started to come through for me, that I realized that I had been abandoning myself for so many years. So the next question is what am I still working on? The biggest one for me now is what I'm starting to work on is the importance of, hold on, we got some people. The thing is that I'm working on is the importance of finding time, making time for myself right now in this season of my life more than for everybody else. Shh. Easy. And so that's one of my things. But I want to go ahead and end with this, because we're gonna wrap up, y'all. Where in your life have you been leaving yourself behind? That's my first question. And the second question what would it look like to come to yourself today? And what I mean by that is, if you have been a people pleaser for a very long time, what would it be like to tell somebody no today? I want you to practice it. The next scenario that comes up, whether you want to do it or not, just say no. And when you say no, see how it feels. Do you feel guilty about it? Do you want to go apologize? Do you feel like you're a bad person? Because if you feel those things, that's a sign that you abandoned yourself for a very long time. But it's also a sign, if you allow it to, it could be the first step to your healing. So, as we get ready to wrap up, man, I appreciate everybody coming to the Low and Bay Talks, man. I gotta, my goal is again, I gotta get this set up to where we can, I can have it set up to where it's a playlist. So whenever people come on here, they could boom, it's a playlist, and I have all of these videos on here. And if this is something that y'all like, you know, if y'all want to talk a little bit more about the self-abandonment things and what comes with it, and the chronicle issues, because the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm learning about myself, the more I'm learning about me and how I operate and how I process. So it's just as much as I'm sharing information with y'all, and I know y'all see that glow, boy. I know y'all see that glow, boy. Look how that sun just, I'm getting my melanin right now. I'm shining, boy. That thing. This ain't no sweat. Look, this ain't no makeup. I woke up like this. You dig what I'm saying? But anyways, man, I appreciate y'all for rocking in. Let me know if y'all have any questions, or if there's anything that y'all would like me to talk about on the next Low and Bay Talks, man. Anyways, love y'all, and I'm gonna catch y'all at doggone B. If you coming on the stream tonight, y'all know it's gonna be sometime around 7-ish. You know how we do, bro. I'm a father, I'm a husband. Things happen, you know what I'm saying? So I'm a dog owner too. There's little Nova. She be, you know, she got the space. She checking out, you know, she making sure our energy stay sacred. You know what I'm saying? She makes sure peace is good. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the B, man. Yeah, man, the doggone B, bruh. I'm talking about every time. It just keep. Anyways, I ain't gonna get on to that, man. But love y'all. I'm gonna catch y'all tonight if you're gonna be on tonight, and I'll catch y'all next week for the next Low and Bay Talk, man. If you waiting for that, peace out, y'all.